guys, this is Zach here, secretsoflongevity.com, and this is going to be a sarsaparilla root beer elixir without a blender. And here's the start of the whole process where I'm digging out the roots. So right at the corner of the deck of the cottage here, we've got a whole bunch of sarsaparilla growing. All these plants in here that have berries. Sarsaparilla, which was originally used to make root beer. That's the flavoring of root beer, and if you make a tea of the root, it tastes like root beer, and you can make it more concentrated and it tastes stronger, but when it's just at a normal decoction, it's not that strong tasting. But it's got these berries, which I don't believe they're edible, but before we dig the roots of the plant up, we're going to pick all these off and scatter them about to help keep this crop going. And this is one of the larger plants here, so it's older, so it'll have fairly large roots. But there's another large one in behind it, which we're going to leave as sort of like the mother of all the plants in this little crop that we have here. And one thing to note is that the stem is quite prickly, and you're going to need gloves if you're going to be pulling this out, if it's an older plant especially, and probably a shovel, because the roots will break if you're just trying to pull the whole plant out. You're going to have to dig most of it out. And there is a supposedly stronger, in terms of medicinal qualities, plant in Jamaica known as Jamaican sarsaparilla, but considering that we're living here, I'd say it's going to be the better one to take as opposed to importing one from Jamaica. So I've trimmed off all the branches, and I'm going to use the butt end of a hammer to dig up this, what's left of this sarsaparilla shrub. I'm going to be digging up the roots, and as I said, it's got a very spiky trunk, so I'm going to be wearing gloves to help haul it up, because I've pulled these up before without gloves and it's quite painful. And sarsaparilla is actually ideally harvested in the fall, and this is obviously late summer, it's end of August, so if you can wait till the fall, if you have it around you to harvest it, that's the ideal, but I won't be up here again, so this is why I'm harvesting this now and want to experience it. It's close enough to fall for my liking. And the properties of sarsaparilla is that it's a blood tonic. It's when we use the word tonic in the Western herbalism sense, it's not the same as the Chinese herbalist sense, so it's not a tonic herb that you can take over and over for unlimited amount of time. You'd actually want to take breaks from it and stagger it, because it's a little more medicinal than what we'd call nutritive herbs in Western herbalism. But it purifies the blood, and it's also known as an androgenic herb, so it's actually quite building to testosterone, and it's great for athletes, and it's really good for skin issues. I had really bad eczema a number of years ago, and I actually used sarsaparilla from this area, and from my understanding and my feeling is that it was the final thing that I had to use to help get rid of this infection on my skin. And it worked quite well for that. So I'm going to dig up this root. I'll show you in the midst of the process of digging it up, and then we're going to make a tea out of it and turn that into a drink. So I'm starting to pull up much of it here. And as you can see, there's a lot of root systems coming off of this plant. It's very thick, and it's definitely an older plant, at least probably 6 or 7 years old, maybe even more. It's much like ginseng in that it can get to be quite an old plant. I don't know if it can get to be 100 like ginseng, but it definitely can get up there. And this neighboring plant, which was quite large, it's probably around the same age. And yeah, it's going to have a great root system and make several teas. And once I've pulled it up, I'm going to have to cut it right at the edge here, and I'll throw away the stick, but I'm just keeping this on here as leverage for pulling it up. Being very careful not to damage the surrounding plants. And one quality about it that is similar to ginseng is that it's very high in saponins, which is sort of a plant sterol, which is supposedly what makes it very androgenic and boosting to various growth-inducing hormones, such as possibly testosterone. So there's the finished herb. Got little roots that broke off as I was pulling it out, and then this longer one that came off as well. Looks like a rope. And then, yeah, there it is. Obviously the little fibers that come off all the roots break off when you're pulling it off, but it's the big thick ones you want. It's like that stuff there is very potent. This will definitely make at least 5 teas, just such a large root system like that. And I'm going to saw it in half there, then we're going to wash it, and then we're going to boil it up. So we don't have the ideal of a ceramic or glass pot, but we're using stainless steel, which is the next best thing. And we're going to be putting in this large, sort of like central root, in which all the other roots came off of, in there. And we're going to maybe throw in one other root, large root. This one looks good. I'll have to break this one up, but I'll be putting that in there, and when we'll simmer it, and you'll see the finished product. Kind of smells like maple syrup. That's interesting. It's starting to get a golden color in the water. This is just about 10 minutes into simmering. We'll see what it looks like after about 40 minutes, which is a good amount of time to simmer roots for. So it's been about 40 minutes. Turning the heat off. And now we have an amazing color. It's like amber sarsaparilla tea. It's not pronounced Sarsaparilla, even though that's the way it's spelled. And, but yeah, we're going to pour this off and make it into a delicious root beer elixir. So now that the tea is all finished, we're going to strain it off into this other pot, which we're going to mix in. Careful not to burn yourself if you're doing it like this. The smell is incredible. It's some sort of mixture of root beer and maple syrup, I guess is the description we would give it. Could probably boil those down again. I might simmer those a bit before we leave the cottage here. So the first thing we're going to add while it's still warm here is some wildflower raw honey. A few large chunks. Probably in total that's about 3 tablespoons. I'm going to add some water just to cool this down because I realize it's very hot. And I don't want to be causing the ingredients to no longer be raw. So just adding a bit of water will bring it down to that temperature that's not destroying the vital nutrients and enzymes in the honey specifically. That should be good. Not steaming as much. Because there's no blender, everything's going to have to be stirred by hand. We've only got DC current up here. There's no AC, which is what blenders and juicers and pretty much all electronics run on, unless you get them specifically for DC current. That's because we're on solar power up here. I'm adding some bee pollen. 2 handfuls of that. Next I've got this almond pumpkin seed yogurt that I'm adding a large dollop of. Overall that's like almost a full cup, not quite. Then I'm going to add a tablespoon of lucuma powder. Actually that's much more, that's about 2 tablespoons right there. And then 1 large scoop of vanilla Sun Warrior protein powder, and this stuff I've been loving. I've seen it in past recipes recently. You can actually get free shipping on orders that contain multiple bags of this at the link below. So you can get lucuma, bee pollen, Sun Warrior protein, and many of these other ingredients at the links below. And also if you want to try sarsaparilla, you can get that at a link below as well. It probably won't be a variety that's local to you, but if you don't have sarsaparilla around and you want to try it, or if you simply don't know where to find it in your area, you can check it out below. It's a very cost-effective way to get it. And I'm also going to add a little dash or pinch of kelp powder, which just gets lots of that good iodine and other trace minerals in there. So now we're going to stir it up. So I'm going to stir this up, then we'll be right back to check out the finished product. So it's all mixed in, but I noticed that I wanted to add a few more ingredients. I'm going to add some coconut butter, approximately 1 tablespoon's worth. Add some good fats. It also makes it a little creamier, which I'm looking to create in this. I'm going to add a little bit of stevia, just to sweeten it up a little more. I'm going to mix that in. And then it's going to be done, I believe. So there we have it, the root beer sarsaparilla elixir. And it does have a faint hint of a taste of root beer, but there must be some specifics with the original root beer recipe or what it became as a soda pop. But I'll look that up and maybe make a recap on this recipe sometime to make it taste a lot more like root beer if there's other ingredients in there that we're missing from this drink. But it's definitely delicious for such a quick and easy recipe that I made here at my cottage. I wanted to share with you, so take care and embrace life without limits.